All right, we're going to start on time, end on time. This is being recorded. As some of you know about the USA Canada Forum has several classes. They've got a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate program. And for the doctorate program, you actually have to submit a video of you doing a session seminar. So this is being recorded for that purposes. Hopefully that'll get me a doctorate when I'm all done and said in September. This is What's Your Brand? Now what we're talking about on that is looking at branding of your club. You know, Lions Clubs International has a great program on branding as far as everything goes and discussing the different types of brands and whatnot that are out there. But I'm looking at what is your club and how do we brand a club? You know, when we look at brands that are out there, there's a lot of them that are real familiar. Shout out if you don't recognize any of these that are popping up on the screen, because I think these are ones. Am I right in your way there? Okay, these are very familiar brands that are out there. The Bluetooth, obviously. Batman, got to remember Batman. He's good. Lions Clubs International. And the final brand that I want you to catch on to is Multiple District 19 Lions Clubs International. That's our new brand for the Multiple District. It's taken the traditional look that we had and modernizing it and bringing it forward. And what we've done, mostly the difference is we've actually added the Lions Club logo into our Multiple District 19 logo. When they talk about branding, there's actually 3 different categories of branding that they can do. They can talk about the visual brand that we just saw. What's something that your club can do as a visual brand? Anybody got some thoughts on that? Hats, pins, t-shirts, sweatshirts, brochures. Yeah. Anything that puts you out in the public and looks at the public recognizes you. And that's one of the things I think our clubs don't do often enough. I know Camas Lions are very good about when they do some kind of a fundraiser or an activity, they've got signage out there. Any other club doing any signage at your activities? Or yeah. Centralia. Which club are you with? Centralia. Centralia. Okay. And what do you guys do for signage?
We have the sandwich board for our second Saturday eyeglass recycle.
Sandwich boards for the second Saturday eyeglass recycle. Yeah, that's a great thing to put out there, and so people can see who and what you are. Any other clubs doing any branding? Battleground, I know you guys have done some stuff in the past.
Pretty similar to what he's saying. We put out sandwich boards and
yeah. Okay.
We have a 4-foot banner for Vancouver that we put out at our project.
A 4-foot banner that you put out at the project. Now, is that a banner you've carried around for 50 years?
No, it's a pretty fresh one.
Yeah, a fresh banner. And that's the other thing I think is real critical is we look at our banners and our displays that we've got, and if we're using the stuff from 20 years ago, it's got the old logo on it. It doesn't have the current Lions logo, which is the yellow and blue instead of the purple and gold. And we're trying to keep that. Lions International wants us to use a brand that's consistent. But from our clubs, we want to show that consistency as well because we are part of Lions Clubs International. Other things that you've done for a visual brand, anybody?
We have the newspaper recycling boxes with the brand on them.
The newspaper recycling boxes with the brand. And which club are you with? Wakayakum. Okay.
And we have the highway sign.
The highway sign, yeah, real fun. You know, a few years ago, Lions International had and this has been more than a few years ago, had a program where they actually were helping you put a new highway sign up. I was in Washougal at the time, and we were able to get a new highway sign, and we had it installed, and then the state came through and widened Highway 14, so they uninstalled the sign for us, and they wouldn't let us put it back up, because when they had widened the road, they took the easement, and they seized the property that it was on, and the state won't allow us to put the sign up on the state-owned property. So We had that brand new sign that we didn't get to display very long, but it was a great sign for a while. So that's a real good.
They did the same in Canada when they put in the roundabout.
Yeah, same thing in Camas when the roundabout went up. You lost your signage. Yeah.
Park now, so it's back up again, just a different place.
Oh, okay. So you've got the road sign up somewhere now. Yeah. I think that road sign is a really good visual brand.
Make sure it's a little above the rotary sign.
A little above the rotary sign. Yeah. Yeah. I like the communities, and you don't see them in this side of the state very often, but there's communities that'll have the signage with all the service groups as you come into their community. And I think that is really cool that when you're driving in there, you can see there's a community that believes in doing things for itself.
And then we have a picture in our local paper almost once, twice a month.
And you're Wakayakum as well? Yeah. So visual brand that's getting out there. There's the written brand. The written brand is kind of the signage that we're seeing, the newspaper stuff that we're seeing. The written brand, maybe a little bit more critical to what we're doing. I think because it's what's putting us out in the newspaper. It's what's putting our constant articles going out, things like that, so that people see it. And I think this is where the brochures, Leslie, maybe come in more as the written brand, because it's something that you can give to somebody. They can take it away, and they can actually share it with some other people as they go on.
Anybody shows the slightest interest gets a brochure.
Anybody shows the slightest interest gets the brochure. Slightest, yeah.
If they're just passing by, then
So if they glance at you, there's a brochure handed to them. Yeah. And how much growth have your club seen? I know we heard Stephanie had added 5 or 7 or something.
we also lost some because they retired and want to move on, but they're still part of the club.
Sure.
Actual participation,
Yeah.
at this point is maybe up 1 or 2,
Yeah.
which is better than the trend.
But if you look at what Camas has done over the last 5 years, you've been adding members every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that when I started 5 years ago was I thought it was important to get the branding out, the visual branding, let people know we're there.
Yeah.
Because too many people ask, what do the Lions do?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know there
And
was.
we have more recognition out there, people don't already know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a real fun thing to see. Anybody else got growth in their club? Anybody else losing members in your club? Yeah. Bellingham Central, where I'm a club member of now, we had at one time, back in the 80s, they tell me there were over 200 members in our club. And they met at noon. Now we've got about 94 members in our club, and we get about 25 that show up at the noon meeting. We've got another 20-ish that will kind of rotate in and out on different projects and stuff. And we've got another 20-ish that I've never met. And that's really the club now. But at one time they had 200. So I think it's part of what we have done as Lions in general is we've lost the membership because we're not marketing ourselves. And yeah, David.
Peter, on that, our club, Port Vancouver Lions Club, has 86 members.
Yeah.
We have about 30 that show up on our new meetings.
Sure.
And we just had a meeting where we go from here just last Wednesday with the object of 35% of our club members are 60 and under, and we very seldom see them because they're working, and we
Right.
meet on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
So we have put a group together of the 60 and unders to kind of figure out what they want to help us grow, because that's where the growth is going to come from. It's not going to come from the 60 and above, because most of everybody's either a Lion or they don't do the same work ethic and work around people that they did before.
Yeah.
So that's kind of important so we're headed that direction, hopefully to get us back up to 100.
Yeah, we're exploring some of the same stuff in Bellingham because of the fact you're seeing the noon meetings are just tough for the working person to get to anymore. It is not just an hour-long meeting that you've got to commit to on that day. It's a 2-hour meeting. You got a half hour to get there. You got the hour-long meeting. You got a half hour to get back to the office. That's 2 hours out of the office. My wife is a member. She can't get away, even though she starts the Thursday with the intent to go to the meeting. At 10 o'clock, she'll get the call from the boss that says, I need to do a conference call over the lunch hour. Can we meet? Yes, we can meet over the lunch hour because I like my job. I like my wife to be employed because it allows me to do this employment. So yeah, so the noon meeting is really tough, and we've looked at doing some of that same thing, is maybe we can spin a branch club or something with an evening, or do we do one noon and one evening? But it's all part of the branding that we gotta look at when we're looking at recruiting members. You've gotta keep that in mind, is what's the focus and how do you bring them in? The third style of brand is personal branding. Anybody got any tattoos? Anybody got a tattoo they can show us that's an appropriate place to show us a tattoo? Yeah, that's a personal branding, a tattoo. But it's also something that we need to look at from our club when we're branding our club. That's a personal choice of what we're doing to represent the club. Is your club a service project club? Or is your club a check writing club? What's the difference? You say a lot.
Well, you don't, if you're just writing checks, you're not really serving, you're serving the community by giving somebody some resources, but you're not doing hands-on. And most people that want to become a member of a service club want to do hands-on. I mean, that's why they join.
Sure.
You know, to do something of that nature so that they can really see the difference they're making in the community. Because that's what makes a lion, is when you see that you're really helping somebody and they're appreciative of what you've done for them. So that gives you the heart.
All right, so David says that's what makes a lion. Anybody disagree with that?
No, only slightly. There are some lions that don't really want to do the work.
Yeah.
They want to come to the meetings.
Yeah.
And other people, they would participate with fundraising.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we work it all around. We have all kinds of lions. And one of the things we try to tell new members is what you want to do is what you will do there. You don't have a particular thing that you have to fill that hole with.
Yeah, we've got a case where we look at our membership, and the service projects we used to do were a lot easier when we had 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds doing that hands-on stuff. When you're looking at an average age, we're getting into the age bracket where a lot of clubs are in the 65-year-old age bracket as an average. And physically, stamina, they've got members that can't do it. When I was in Washougal, we had a member that was a great volunteer. She loved going to the meetings. Physically, she couldn't work the projects that we were doing, but she was at every meeting that we had. Idell Jessup was a powerhouse at the meetings. She was a lot of fun, but she physically couldn't, and she said, I'm sorry, I can't commit to that. But we found stuff that she could do because she could make the phone calls to rope Adam into coming out to the club meeting or to the service project, to get Leslie to come out, to get Lisa to show up. Idell could make those calls, but that was something that we had to look at from that standpoint. You know, as we're looking at the personal branding, you need to focus on what is your club. If your club is a check writing club, and that's what Bellingham Central is right now, we're a check writing club. We give anywhere in the neighborhood of $50,000 to $70,000 out every year. Now, we're doing a great job at writing checks, but when David wants to join my club and he says, I want to get my hands on a project, if I told, well, come work the Lions Club, because you know what, we got a concession stand, and I can have you work our concession stand. Well, David, is that really what you're looking for?
No, but
Yeah.
but it also serves the purpose. Yeah.
Sure, it serves the purpose, but if David is looking to come into a service-fixated club, and he's working a concession stand to raise money, to give the money away, he's not going to stick with my club very long, because he's going to go...
What you can do with David is say, David, what would you like to do? And then you're in charge of...
Yeah,
That's it.
of that prize. Yeah, yeah. Congratulations for joining our club. Thanks for bringing a new idea. You're now the project manager. Yeah. Does that always work either? Because, you know, sometimes you get members that'll join that they're not ready to step into that leadership role. But we in Bellingham Central are a check writing club right now. We're trying to change some of that. And there's nothing wrong with being a check writing club. You know, we gave $10,000 to the Nooksack Salmon Restoration Project. They had a stream restoration day where you could plant trees and do everything else. Our $10,000 allowed them to do that project. We have 100 members in our club, and not one was at that stream restoration. But the money that we gave was there. Now, when you're looking for the club, if I tell Al, I want you to join my club because I've got this great concession stand that we raise a bunch of money and we give away a bunch of money, and that's what Al's looking for. That'll work. It'll be a nice fit for him, and he will stay in my club. But David's looking for the hands-on. He's not going to join. He's going to join, but he's going to leave, or he's going to look for another club. So, yeah, the personal branding of your club becomes critical. Everybody got your cell phone? Get your cell phone out. I want you, yeah, this is an activity where you get to use your cell phone in class. I want you to text somebody that you think will actually respond right away. Text somebody, say that you're in a marketing class right now, and you want them to give you 2 words to describe you. So text somebody, ask them, say, I'm in a marketing class, I need 2 words to describe me, and use somebody that you think is actually going to pay attention and respond real quickly. And then as you get those responses, and I know some of you are still trying to think, who do I know that's awake at this point on a Saturday? But as you get those responses, just shout them out and stuff. I want 2 words to describe you, Al. I don't want you to describe yourself, no, because that could get real awkward. Yeah, maybe Lisa could describe Al, but yeah. And I don't want Al and Lisa to text each other either here. Okay. So as you get there, and if you don't have a cell phone, that's okay.
I have one, but nobody that I could reach.
Would actually respond to yeah.
No, well, I have limited cell service.
Sure.
I mean,
I am at a class, and I'm looking for 2 words that describe me.
Yep.
Sight challenged, I talk to my friends.
I understand. That is, I talk to mine more often than I type now because it's just
Yeah.
easier. So, anybody got a response yet? I've done this before where actually we had instantaneous responses just about, so. Okay, you got responses? All right, so what's the word to describe you?
I was describing her.
Okay, oh, see, I cheated a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay.
You said
Yeah, somebody that would respond quickly, so you respond. So what?
giving, compassionate, happy.
All right,
And I described her as sweet and sassy.
sweet and sassy. Okay. Anybody else got a response yet?
Trustworthy and positive.
Trustworthy and positive. Anybody else who's response? Adam's still trying to figure out a cell phone.
Wait a minute, what does it mean to text?
What does it mean to text? Right, yeah. I'm, yeah. You woke me up with a response, all right. Yeah. Giving and kind. Okay, so what I'm hearing is a lot of the words that we use to describe why we're lions. It's the reason I joined, it's what I do. But that other thing that these words are doing is establishing your personal brand. And there's a response. What's it say? Diligent and detailed? Wow, all right. And there's another response. Whose was that?
Energetic and dedicated. Well, thank you.
All right. Energetic and dedicated, yeah. So that's part of your personal brand, and that personal brand carries into who you are as a club. And why is that brand important? Well, it helps identify your club. And again, it becomes down to where, are you a check writing club? Are you a service club? Are you a combination of both? And I think a lot of our clubs would be able to say that we're combination clubs.
it sells your club.
Yeah, you can sell your club.
It sells your club.
Yeah. Talk more about that.
Me?
Yeah. You volunteered. You're in the front row. It sells your club. How does it sell your club?
Because you're out there meeting the public, and what they see is what they think of a club.
Yeah. Yeah. What they see in public is what carries through for it and stuff. So that does help sell your club.
If you're doing a fundraiser, for instance, and you don't really look happy to be there, you're not setting a good brand for your club.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why one of the things that we're getting, like, 4th of July is always a stressful, hard-working, very busy event.
Yeah.
In the lead-up to that, I have to say over and over and over again, make sure you smile. I don't dressed you are, always smile. It's like you're on stage.
Yeah. Put that smile on and pretend like you're happy to be here. Yeah. Yeah, because it does sell your club.
Until you leave, keep the smile on.
Yeah. And the other thing that smile is going to do is it's going to make me think, oh, this is maybe a club that I'm interested in looking at if I'm looking to join a club.
That's how we got him joined.
Tyler, is that really what happened?
He
See.
told me
Uh-huh.
that he was new in town.
Yeah.
It seemed like everywhere he went around town. Yeah, they were everywhere. Camas Lions.
Yeah.
That seemed like what he was doing. Like they're everywhere.
They are that way. Yeah. Camas has that ability. You know, when we talk about the hands-on club, what are some of the activities that your club's doing that's hands-on? Lisa? Vision screening. Yeah, definitely hands-on. We heard about the group that 5,000 screener. Yeah. Yeah, that's a hands-on activity. I don't care whether you're screening 5 or 5,000. You're making an impact of that hands-on, and that will draw in the member recruit that's looking to join your club. Other hands-on.
How do you even do 5,000?
Yeah, yeah. How do you?
That's like, 300 every day.
Yeah.
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 Multiple tables,
Yeah.
lines stretching off to the horizon.
We
Well,
have like,
actually, you can do equipment, you can do a class of 30 in probably about 10 minutes.
Yeah. And here's what's real exciting on that screening. You got questions. There's a seminar on that one today. So, Susan.
we have a,
Our club works service projects at the Washington State Schools of the Line. And we went in recently and did swim meet. We help kids with the timers.
Oh yeah.
And we tell the kids when they get to the edge of the pool so they don't hit their head.
All right.
And then on another service project with the vision impaired is bowling. And
Bowling.
some of the kids have partial sight and they can navigate up to the lane just fine, but they need help knowing when not to cross
That magic line that buzzes at you. Yeah.
The old foul line.
Yeah.
And then we help them, the kids who are very impacted, we offer an arm and get them up there, help them so they don't lose their ball in the ball return machine. It's fun.
Yeah. So a great hands-on project.
Centralia
Yeah.
has taken on the alert program. That second Saturday,
Uh-huh.
we are in the local park, out there gathering glasses. As of last Thursday, we have turned in over 4,000 pairs of glasses since July 1st.
Since July, brought in 4,000 pairs of glasses through the LERC program, which is the Lions Eyeglass Recycling Center. Many clubs are involved in that eyeglass recycling. It is a fun project to take that pair of glasses and follow it through to the end and see where those glasses actually end up going on the mission trip side of things.
That's right.
Let me,
David.
if you want to know more about that, our next session right next door, we'll talk about mission trips.
Excellent. Excellent little plug. So other hands-on activities that your clubs are doing.
I just wanted to brag because I'm kind and motivational.
Kind and motivational. Excellent. Excellent. Any other responses? Yes.
When we started doing in the last 6 months.
And which club?
Kelso.
Kelso.
Is the old Kelsonian newspaper. They were just disintegrating, falling apart. So our guys have taken it on and they're set up because even you would unfold it to put it on a board so you could take pictures and they'd be sweeping up the pieces of that.
Right.
And they're up to 1808 now, I think they have.
Wow.
The newspapers up to, and it takes a long time because they have to be really careful with
Yeah.
them. And what they're doing is they got the program to screenshot it and that way
And
they
so they're
put them on file, but then they
putting it into
they
digital
print it
format.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really, the first ones, process of, they made the boards, they did the stuff, and Wally, one of the guys, he pulled it, well, yeah, your fingers are on every newspaper now, so it's really been a process getting
Yeah.
to do it.
And that is a project that I have not heard of a club doing something like that with a historical preservation.
And by us
Yeah.
doing that, by us going down there and doing it, now the head museum guy just joined our Lions Club last
So you got a new member because of a service project. Is that how a lot of us are seeing new members come in, is from the service projects? You know, the check writers. Anybody identify their club as a check writing club besides me?
That's half of what.
Half of your club? You're saying Fort Vancouver is a check writing? I think half of it. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not saying Bellingham Central is only a check writing club. I'm just saying we do a lot with our check writing. And we have a lot of groups in the community that come to us because they know we will write a check for a project that has merit and beliefs, and we are doing good with that money. But again, that salmon restoration thing, I just floored that we put $10,000 into to put that event on, and we didn't have a single member there. And I was just as guilty of it. It was just a Saturday I couldn't make it, which is the same reason everybody else couldn't make it. But it was a check writing club, and we are doing wonderful things with our checks, and our community is stronger because of the checks that we're writing. But we are working a concession stand and a golf tournament and trying to raise money on that. Now, we've got some other projects that we're doing that we're looking at bringing it back in to where we can do hands-on service stuff. Texting's still going on over here? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Did you get a response from anybody other than somebody in the classroom? Yeah. Okay.
I got handsome and virile. Thanks, Mom.
Wow. Not sure that's really one we want to focus on the club. You know, maybe that might be an interesting focus to bring a new member in.
So we're in the process of rewriting our club brochure.
And Jim, what club are you with?
Salmon Creek.
Salmon Creek.
And so our club about 4 years ago decided to have a core service project, so we focused on vision screening.
Yeah.
And over the last 4 years or whatever, it's really evolved into kind of a Clark County-wide, even outside of Clark County. But we're getting other clubs that are coming and helping us because on a good day, we're a 20-member club, and we can't handle it all. And so it's now become, I think, part of through Mark's leadership, become a zone project, and we're kind of seeing where that's going to go. But I'm also finding that we're kind of alienating a section of our club that either works or doesn't have any interest in vision screening, and so that's become kind of the majority of our
Sure.
service project. And so I guess I'm just letting people know that maybe have more than one
Right.
core service project or whatever. And we do walk and knock and the fine line fishing for kids and
Yeah. So you've got other.
we have other things, but mainly we either just cook food at an event or we vision screen. And I think
And when you're cooking the food, is that a fundraising, or is that
it can be, but for the most part,
But
it's
generally,
a
you're
service project.
you're just a service project. Whereas Camus will do a lot of food cooking as a fundraiser.
We're in the process of redesigning the club.
Yeah.
So where our focuses are right now is still in class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great. Come on in.
We need to, I just feel our club needs to, we're doing kind of going through a survey process and trying to get other ideas internally. But I know we've lost some folks that just don't want a vision screen. So I guess I would caution other clubs to try and be more inclusive of all your members. Maybe that's the retention session later on or something.
Well, I think Fort Vancouver is probably the largest membership club here right here today, at least in this room. So about how much dollars do you guys hand out every year? You know, I mean, I got 3 past presidents here, so.
Well, we do actually, we hand out, on a monthly basis, we do $100 to some charity.
Yeah.
On a monthly, and we do a lot of fundraising, but a lot of it goes into, we do Christmas Day for Washington Elementary School.
Yeah, so you're bringing in the money for that project, right?
And we give an awful lot of money actually to the sight and hearing organizations.
Yeah.
Because we're one of the major sponsors. In reality, we give several $1,000s to each
Sure.
one of those, so they can continue.
So yeah, so you're seeing the check writing focus on things, but you're trying to work the hands-on things.
Right.
And I think that, again, that's where we find most of our clubs are looking at doing both. They're doing both because that's the way you're going to draw everybody in. But again, when you're looking at recruiting somebody, you need to know what brand is your club. If you are a check writing club primarily, and you're talking to a service fixated person, you're not gonna get the mix that you need to see.
Kind of naive on the thing, but for the check writing, is it members just kind of donating money to the clubs who disperse out, or where?
It could be. In our case, in Bellingham, we're raising the money through a concession stand at the football games and a golf tournament.
So it is fundraising.
We're fundraising and then dispersing those money. Now, there are some other clubs where they've really become personal check writers that you will donate to the club will then donate out that money. And that happens too. And so the check writing club, you know, in my mind, the check writing club is more what I'm talking about when we're raising funds through the public and then dispersing those funds out through the public.
Well, kind of a combination, our Christmas party is a club Christmas party.
Yeah.
But we raised $800.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're raising it internally.
Right.
So check writing from that standpoint, but yeah, I don't use check writing as saying that I'm writing a check to my club and my club's writing it out and stuff. I use check writing to say that our funds are coming in and they're going out, and we're not actually physically turning the dirt to put the plants in the ground and things like that. We have some of that going on, and we are looking to do that because of the membership issue, where we're saying, you know, you're not looking for that to join. But there are people, when I was in Iowa, is when I joined Lions, and there was a University of Iowa Lions, which was at the University of Iowa, oddly enough, but that club was composed of a lot of the medical personnel at the University of Iowa medical side. The doctors were writing checks to the club because they believed in what was going on with the Lions. But they said, I don't have time to go spend a couple hours planting a tree, but I can pay you to go plant the tree. And so they had doctors write and hospital administrators and stuff that were members of the club that would write a check to the club, and that was their contribution to the club. They had other members in the club that were actually physically doing the work. So they were a combination of both. But they were seeing the personal donations come in to fund the projects. They didn't do a whole lot of fundraising outside of the club. And it had something to do with the university policies and things of that nature and stuff. They wanted to stay clear of that. So they had the doctors and the administrators were funding the projects that they were doing internally. And so it was kind of a little of both. But yeah, so both activities, both sides of the I think work. You know, what are some of the other things your clubs are doing that you're seeing where you're seeing both activities? You know, we've talked a little bit about the check writing. We've talked a little bit about what's going on the project. But what are some of the projects you're doing? Kathy.
Well, Baker Lights Club is right on the route for the Seattle to Portland Bike Ride, so that's
Uh-huh.
our biggest fundraiser every year, but it's also a service project because of the donations. So, you know, there are plenty of people who come through who ran out of money by the time they make it to
Yeah.
Baker or whatever, but we're going to serve them. And,
Yeah. And I think that's the key is when you're defining it, you know, what was the purpose that you're doing? You know, you're feeding the hungry bike rider. If you get some coin out of them, you're ahead of the game.
Right.
But if you don't get any, you're still putting the food into their trip and stuff. And so you've got a service project in my mind. That's a service project. You know, it happens to bring some cash in. That's good.
And the coffee stop fundraisers that we do along I-5, same thing. We're there to help people stay awake and
Great.
stay safe on the road.
Yeah.
If they don't contribute, not a problem.
Yeah, and I think that's where the difference is between the concession stand that we work at the football game. That is a money-driven event. And, you know, you are choosing to come to my concession stand. I'm expecting you to pay for that hot dog and that chili dog and that pizza. Yeah, if I don't get paid, you don't get served. You're paying. You know. Yeah, so that's the difference, Leslie.
Many years ago, the Camas Lions Club was much larger, like most of the clubs were.
Yeah.
And back, where it started, Camas Lions Club was instrumental in the fundraising to build the Camas Municipal Public Pool.
Yeah.
Recently, the city has decided it was too expensive to repair it anymore, so it's coming down.
Yeah.
But we are at the beginning of a new project, Camp Curry has been there for like 75, 80 years. But it was way out, it's always been way out in the country.
And what is Camp Curry for those that?
Camp Curry is a youth camp. It's been a Boy Scout camp, Girl Scout camp, and now it's just youth camp, and it's busy all year long.
So cabins, camping out.
Adirondacks, tent
Yeah.
spaces.
Yeah.
The various youth groups like high school groups or grade school groups or scout groups, church groups.
And your
use
connection,
the spaces, and and they only charge, right now they're charging $1 a kid per night, which is about a third to a quarter of what most places charge.
Yeah.
Keep it affordable.
and the Camas Club connection to that is,
We've been involved with the scouts for quite a long time.
oh,
And Camp Curry has been there for a long time, but the city is growing, the community is growing around it. And we recognize that if somebody doesn't step up pretty soon, then that jewel on the lake is more and more being threatened.
mhm,
As right now, the city wants to put a trail right through it,
Yeah.
which would affect the security of the kids that are in there, which we don't want to, you
Right.
can't do it, it's not gonna happen. So, the Camas is becoming involved, we have 2 members now that are on the Camp Curry board, and that's our new project for the future.
Yeah.
A big project. We go out there in the spring and help with the camp cleanup right now.
Yeah.
We're working on things like, the main clubhouse needs new gutters. We're beginning to address that.
and are you seeing some of the same thing that Jim
Yes.
was talking about, where your eye screening project, right, that you think it's becoming too much of a you're getting so much focus on that you're forgetting the other stuff. Are you afraid Camas is going to go the same direction where?
What we're after with Camp Curry, we're looking for a signature project. We've got all the little things that we do,
Yeah.
walk and knock and all the Clark County site and all those things.
Right.
But we wanted a signature program, a signature project that's in the city of Camas, because that's where
Yeah.
we are. We've been to Washoe and helped them out with Oktoberfest and so on and so forth.
Right.
We wanted something that was signature Camas.
Yeah.
That's important, like saving the camp.
So other clubs, are you picking up signature projects? Is that a way to bring in members, do you think? Or what are you seeing with that? Signature
Well,
project?
we're doing, actually, before Vancouver is pretty, we do an awful lot of stuff at Washington Elementary School.
Yeah.
Because those kids are at risk.
So Washington Elementary School has become kind of your
Sort of,
signature.
yeah, we do about 5 different projects
Sure.
there. We volunteer at Share House, that
Yeah.
serve meals at Share, which is the homeless place. And a lot of us volunteer down at Fish, which is the food pantry. So
Okay.
we've got a lot going on, but we've got some very, very great members that spread themselves pretty thin.
Yeah.
But we're getting older, like you were talking about, and
Right.
it's getting a little harder to do these.
Yeah. Lisa, you had something?
Yeah, we have a club in Bonnie Lake that does Alliance for Kids House, and it's a clothing bank for low-income children. It
Okay.
serves 5 school districts.
So a clothing bank for children, low-income children?
Right, in
Yeah.
Bonnie Lake, and it's their signature project. They've got a 1,600 square foot home that they lease from the city for $1 a year.
Yeah.
And so, even a lot of their volunteers aren't Ryan members though.
Right. Yeah, and when I talk about Bellingham Central being a check writing club, the offset of that is we get the wheelchair warehouse, which is a free to the community can come in and take a wheelchair or walker, knee scooters, durable medical equipment, and they can use it for as long as they need it, and then theoretically return it. There's no charge to do that. Like anything else, we do accept donations for that. Those donations are enough to pay for the actual upkeep of the building and everything else. But that's a project that we have got, probably only a third of the volunteers are actually members of the club.
Yeah.
2/3 of the volunteers on that project are just members of the community that like what they do. They've been asked to join, they've been shared the information, they don't want to join. That's okay. We will take your hours and labor at the volunteer before I'll take your money as a lion, because I need those volunteers and stuff. Did you have something? Or did you? Okay.
The more we talk, the more I realize our club is a service club.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the motto of Lions, is we serve.
I mean, we have a community birthday calendar. Yeah, we do, it's fundraising for us, but it also is a calendar the community has on their wall.
Yeah.
Different people.
Yeah, so they can actually share that information. And again, I think that's important that we're seeing the community actually responding to what we can do in that. When we're looking at again, the marketing to the new member, prospective member. What is your brand? How are you going about and how are you sharing that information with that prospective member? Who brought in somebody in the last 6 months into your club? What happened? How'd they get there?
How'd they get there? Through the eyeglass program.
Through the eyeglass program?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second Saturday, I shared just happened to have a brochure.
Got a brochure.
Just happened to
A
have
written brochure. Yeah, a written brand. Centralia Lions Club, come join us. And this is available and handed out, like Leslie said with cameras. Anybody that gives me an eyeball
That's exactly right.
gets handed a
yeah.
brochure.
And you don't even have to look. I'll slip it in your pocket.
There you go. So anybody else had a member join in, all right, the last 6 months or this?
Stephanie brought in 7 people.
Yeah,
Most of those are friends and coworkers.
friends and coworkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I say this to my membership all the time, you have to ask.
Yeah.
Right.
Ask.
That's the first thing you gotta do. If you don't ask, they don't.
Yeah. But when she brought him in, was it Stephanie because she's Stephanie, or was it Stephanie because of what Camas Lions are doing?
She can express the Camas Lions Club very well.
Yeah.
Tell the story.
Yeah.
They like Stephanie, and they like Stephanie and the way she works. She's that billboard for the club.
Okay. So yeah, we're seeing that where it's going on. Al, you got any? I know you've been around. You've done a lot of traveling and stuff. What have you seen from some of the other areas and stuff? Are they seeing the same struggle with that we're talking about here with the members?
Yes, this is common. I would just add that a lot of clubs don't give this a whole lot of thought. A lot of clubs, individual members, can't tell you the difference between a fundraiser and a service project.
Right.
Because they took the same
Yeah.
Orientation, that's what
Yeah.
they do that.
Yeah.
Do that. And for some clubs, that distinction is not really important. We do what we do and away we go.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of clubs that are doing exactly that. They're bringing the money in and putting the money out, and they don't give it any consideration how that transfers and what comes through, and they don't really care because they're doing what they've been doing, and they've been doing it well, and they've been doing it for so long. It's just continuing on. But I think we need to, as we look to the future, we got to brand our club to talk to the new members to see what they're coming in. Bill?
One thing that they were talking, Salmon Creek was talking about the screening.
Yeah.
Last Monday, Irv and Rod came to the church that I go to, which has a daycare,
Uh-huh.
Joyful Noise Daycare. They did 18 kids in about 18 seconds.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I mean,
Right. Yeah. It is.
anyway, while I was there, I asked the director of the daycare, what is it that you need?
Yeah.
And she told me I need a toddler play area. Guess what Centralia is going to talk about doing?
So there's because of a
we did
project
a
that there was
project.
a partnership with them and what they brought in and seeing like that and carrying that through.
Exactly.
And you've got a possibility of doing a service project now through a fundraising activity, so a joint project, everything else going. David, 4 minutes? Okay. A couple more slides. Are you an other club? There are some other clubs out there. No, that would be one thing, but usually they have a focus. I'm talking the other club being the one that says, we're just a social group. Because there are some clubs that have transitioned into that. Now, they're not going to stay a club very long because they're not bringing in new members, but they are Lions clubs that have become social clubs because that's where they got comfortable. And they...
So it's basically, for the most part, populated by an older crowd.
Not necessarily old, not necessarily. They're just a group of people that have found that they really like each other, they love spending time together, but they're not interested in moving beyond that. And they will tell you that, yeah, we're a social club.
Yeah, one of my uncles in New Zealand, it's because they are so much older, and but they still love me.
So the hands-on club, they're putting stuff in the ground, they're making toys, they're doing the peace poster. The check writing club, they're putting stuff in the ground, they're building toys, and they're doing the peace poster. It takes both. The other club is doing the same thing. You're seeing that combination. So David, am I doing okay on time? All right, that's my last slide. So any other thoughts? Any other comments?
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Nice hats.
It's a good hat.
Hit the